Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crunch Time with Katelin. In this episode, I'll be talking about the Browns and what they are doing, or lack thereof, in free agency. So we all know that the Browns are now 0 of 5, re-signing their free agents, and they possibly could go 0 of 6 with Craig Robertson um, taking a trip to Seattle today, and then tomorrow he's taking a trip to New Orleans. I didn't expect the Browns to go 0 of 6. I didn't expect them to do much. I thought they would have re-signed maybe Mitchell Schwartz, considering that they're planning on, getting a new quarterback in here. I would have thought maybe Tashawn Gibson, considering that Ray Horton called him the MVP of the defense in 2013. I didn't expect Travis Benjamin back. I didn't really expect Alex Mack back. He took less money to go to Atlanta. Wish them nothing but the best. But I did think that the Schwartz situation, where they apparently offered him a contract and then went back on it, is interesting. And Tashawn Gibson not even getting a contract. The thing about Tashawn Gibson, though, is that there's a guy at 2 who I really like, and he plays the same position as Gibson. That's Jalen Ramsey, and I'll get into him in another episode, which I'll be recording after this one. But the Browns did sign 2 guys as of now. Alvin Bailey, offensive lineman from Seattle, who started 5 games in 2014, and he played in 15 games last year. And they signed Justin Tuggle, a linebacker from Houston, who played in 42 games and had 11 starts. So he's a backup, linebacker. It is what it is. They're not high impact moves, but they it is what it is. You know what? We all kind of assumed they weren't going to do anything, and they didn't. There's not many wide receivers out there. There's not many free agents who they'd probably look at and say, he could be a guy. Maybe Ruben Randall, but he is a smaller running back, but he is 25 years old, which the guys I'm looking at are 26, 27 years old or younger. Maybe didn't have an opportunity to play in places. Maybe a guy like Chris Givens. There's just not a lot of guys. Center-wise, they may go after Jacksonville's old center, Stefan Wenskowski. I believe he was drafted in Oakland when Hugh Jackson was there, so that could be a link. They could go after Andre Smith from the Bengals, who's a free agent. Another Hugh Jackson guy, but he's 29 years old, so I don't know about that. That would be kind of weird, considering they just let Mitchell Schwartz walk. Calvin Meacham from the Steelers, he's only 27. He's coming off a torn ACL. He might be able to play by week 1, but sign him maybe, and then maybe you trade away Joe Thomas. Who knows? But there's really not a lot of guys. just looking at the list right now, there is like all the guys 25, 26, 27. They've already been signed or they're been tendered by the teams that they were with. Linebacker wise, again, they signed Justin Tuggle. I don't expect them to do much there. They might try to trade, Paul Kruger or Barkevius Mingo. I doubt it, but you just kind of never know with the Browns. There are some guys, not many, again, but Junior Gillette, maybe. But he's a not great, locker room guy. So, it's again, it's really hard to, say, this guy or that guy, just because, I don't expect the Browns to do anything really, but I do expect them to make, smaller moves. Maybe like a Courtney Upshaw from the Ravens. There's just not a lot of guys. Which brings back to the draft, and I'll get into that the next episode. It's really difficult to sit here as a Browns fan, and because, again, we go through this almost every 2 years. New regime, a new, way of thinking. But now they're doing it completely different because, whether good or bad, the old Browns regimes would go after these guys and pay them a lot of money, and then probably would, result into, 5-6 wins at most. But they're going, pretty much, gutting the roster and then building it back up with cheap players. It's just frustrating as a Browns fan to go through this every few years, and especially have hope this year that you got Hugh Jackson, someone who knows what he's doing, but is ultimately unproven because he's only been a head coach for 1 year. I'm not saying I don't like him. I love Hugh Jackson. I hope he's the coach of the Browns for the next 10, 12 years. But we just have to be honest with ourselves, and we just don't know what's going to happen. It's just frustrating. Oh dear. Another offseason with the Browns. And that'll do it on this episode of Crunch Time with Katelin. Probably talking your